Okay, I have had nails like this, iron or steel or whatever they are, nails that looked as if they would rust easily. I had them in vinegar for a week now, just plain white vinegar, and this is what it looks like. There's a small tiny hole in the lid to let the gas escape. It causes a lot of gas, so you got to make sure that the container is vented somehow. So I've got a small hole in the lid. It creates a soup that looks well, less than appetizing, and there's probably still something left at the bottom of this. I am not sure if there are better ways to clear this up, to get a clear one. So what I've done, I have one large container here that will hold what I want. I've got a smaller one to fit inside, and I've got holes cut in the bottom, and in the smaller container I have a coffee filter. So with that I hope to get a clearer mix out of this. So let's see, I'm just gonna pour it off gently. Actually the liquid is coming off there, not too shabby, not too dirty. So haha, that seems to be working, and the liquid is actually quite clear. So I am going to leave it like that. I will show you that, what it looks like. In the bottom you can see there's still a lot of those nails left there, and then this brown residue. Now I'm going to experiment and just simply add vinegar to this mixture and see what it does. After a week after it was filtered, this is what I'm left, and I'm going to put a pipette in there and suck off some of the clear liquid to work with into a separate container. Doesn't take much. You can work directly from that bottle, but there is some dry residue forming at the top of the liquid. So, and that was what came through the coffee filtering process. So I'm going to bypass that by drawing off enough here to work with to show you. There's probably faster methods of doing this, but there I am. Got enough vinagroon, I think, separated. One thing I'm careful of is not to contaminate my workspace with any of this. So if you spill a drop of that, even on your hands, if you get a drop on your hands, it will do nothing to your hand. But if you then touch another piece of leather with that wet hand, it will immediately turn black. So first I'm going to show you to work with a vinagroon just with a brush, selectively in certain areas. I've already done part of it, as you can see, and overlap is not a problem at all. The chemical change can take place, and no more than that. It's not like dyeing where you can over dye or anything of that nature. Make sure you've got good coverage so that the chemical reaction that turns the leather black can take place nice and deep, nice and thorough. And remember, the vinegar now will walk through it will be wicked through the leather, so you do want to be careful of going close to your design while the brush is still too much loaded. So first work away from the design, and then when the brush is slightly drier, you can then go up closer, as you can see. Remember, the vinegar acts like water at this stage, in that it goes slowly, it wicks very slowly, creeps slowly through the leather. And so if you load a whole lot of it next to the design, you won't notice it immediately, but in a few minutes time it will have walked right up into the design itself. There we go. I am going to work on that little piece as well. Normally I would use a finer brush for that. It's such a tiny space. And there we go, that's vinagroon with a brush, just in selected spots. Now I'll show you a complete piece of leather. I have here a wallet back for a tiny little credit card wallet. Here is where the vinagroon goes nice. I just use a dauber. You can use a sponge brush, a sponge, anything you want, but I use a dauber. Easy enough. If you had a large enough container, you could also dunk this into the vinagroon and completely cover it, but this way you can cover large pieces of leather without having to dunk them. I make sure, just as with dye, that the leather is saturated with the vinagroon. In that sense, chemical changes will be throughout the leather. It will be a deep-seated change. Okay, so edges too. Easy enough to do the edges. You can also just edge leather, of course, this way. And then the other piece I like about this is that you can easily dye the back of leather and there's no chance of it bleeding off on clothing or anything like that. So here we go. Hold on. I want to show you one more piece. This piece here was done in this way, but it's just a rough test piece, all funky stuff going on here. But you see this lighter spot here? This spot was covered with super sheen really well beforehand. I had tested the super sheen over some other stuff, so this piece was covered in super sheen, and when I applied the vinagroon, it actually was resisted by the super sheen to some extent, not everywhere. Like here, the super sheen was not thick enough to do that, and the vinegar penetrated right through, so it's blotchy there. But it looks like if you put the super sheen on thick enough, you will be able to resist the vinegar quite well with that.